ICE tries to stop this, but the judges, the Illinois Attorney General, the Chicago Teachers Union, certain clergy members, the mayor, and the governor block them every step of the way. This is not compassion. This is failure.
It's Danielle Carter Walters, the Chicago Flips Red activist who testified in front of the U.S. Senate yesterday, and we'll hear some more of what she had to say for a U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee hearing focused on immigration enforcement. Welcome in. It's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop with you each and every weekday morning. If you get to the website, thecentersquare.com, you'll see the headline Jim Talamonte put together. Watch Democrats leave hearing before minorities testimony on Biden's border policies. So here we go. Let's get into it. A member of a minority grassroots Chicago organization testified before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee on the Judiciary Wednesday that violent gang members in the U.S. illegally are hurting minority communities, but committee members from the Democratic Party left before she spoke. So Wednesday's hearing in Washington with the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee titled ICE Under Fire, the Radical Left's Crusade Against Immigration Enforcement. U.S. Senator John Cornyn from Texas, he had some opening things to say about what exactly is going on with immigration enforcement in some of these Democrat-run states and cities.
Sadly, many of these communities have suffered for decades under the weight of failed policing mandates. The influx of millions of illegal aliens exacerbated the failure of these policies, resulting in skyrocketing crime.
And you see that in Chicago, you see it in Broadview, where the attacks against immigration and customs enforcement officers, according to DHS, has increased 1,000%. A lot of video evidence of that, but also video evidence of, tear gas being deployed and some various law enforcement tactics being deployed to arrest protesters, and also video of alleged non-citizens being tackled and thrown into vans and such. So that's why Democrats, at least Senator from California, essentially protested and boycotted the hearing and got up and left, followed by other Democrats in the Senate Judiciary Committee.
So let me once again say that violence against law enforcement is never okay. But I refuse to sit back as this committee attempts to use or condone the use of law enforcement as a shield for abuses of power by this administration. If today's hearing was indeed a serious effort to protect our law enforcement, we would have government witnesses testifying before us today and fielding our questions as a committee. But that's not the case. If today's hearing was a serious effort, those government witnesses would be providing facts and data behind the numbers that our Department of Homeland Security so often cites to claim an increase in assaults on its officers and agents. But even after repeated requests, months and months of requests from my office and from others to the Department of Homeland Security to back up their claims of is it 500%? Is it 1,000%? Now we're even hearing claims of up to 8,000% increase in assaults or death threats. They've refused to provide them. Mr. Chairman, you're very well aware of this. You and I discussed this last week. And as far as I can tell, they've even refused your requests for data and statistics. Why am I insisting on this? Why am I making this point? Because that data is critical. Not only would it allow us to actually verify their claims, but that data would be critical to informing our policy response. So no, today's hearing is not a serious attempt to protect law enforcement. It's designed to fuel the propaganda machine and encourage even more brutal immigration enforcement operations. It's designed to cover up for the fact that after President Trump pledged to go after the worst of the worst, this we do know from DHS statistics. Over 70% of those currently detained in ICE custody have no criminal record. If they were simply focused on those truly dangerous, violent criminals, there would be no objection, there would be no debate, there would be no discussion. But the reality is far from their claims. At the same time, what we are seeing every day is new acts of brutality and misuse of force in communities across the country.
So you've got the senator from California making those statements and then ultimately getting up and leaving. Illinois U.S. Senator Dick Durbin, who's the minority spokesperson on the Senate's Judiciary Committee, not saying anything during the hearing. Now, to Chicago Flip's Red Vice President Danielle Carter Walters, she testified about some troubling instances of alleged migrant crime and how the media isn't really telling the real story on the ground. And you've got Democrat politicians that are shielding these with sanctuary policies, shielding this from really being truly understood by people on the ground.
The place that happened where the ICE raid happened on 75th and South Shore Drive, Trendiagua had taken over that building, and the fake news failed to mention that prior to that, a couple of months earlier, that one of those Trendiagua gang members had executed another illegal alien, shot him in the head, and buried his body in concrete.
Again, she went on to discuss how this really is not being assisted in public safety with Democrat policies that are shielding non-citizens in the state and the city of Chicago.
ICE tries to stop this, but the judges, the Illinois Attorney General, the Chicago Teachers Union, certain clergy members, the mayor, and the governor blocked them every step of the way. This is not compassion. This is failure.
You have Republican senators making their points heard as well. Florida Senator Ashley Moody talking about how the Biden administration's open border policies led to some states essentially looking the other way.
Let me tell you another thing that I had to file suit on to get information when we found out. Historically, when we picked up people internationally that were trafficking drugs, killing Americans, when they were brought to our country to be prosecuted and put in prison for that, as soon as they served that sentence, they were deported because they were picked up in international places, because they were drug traffickers. Who would have ever released them into our country when their only skill is drug trafficking in the middle of a drug crisis? Oh no, the Biden administration did. They started taking federal prisoners in federal prisons for drug trafficking here illegally, and instead of deporting them when their sentences were over, they released them back into your communities in America. And their only skill was pushing drugs into your communities. That's their skill.
So where are we going to go from here with the U.S. Senate having these hearings? It's a good question, one that we will obviously with the team at the Center Square keep an eye out for. But you can read more about that hearing and others at thecentersquare.com. It is Illinois in Focus daily, each and every weekday morning with you here with the Center Square.